Last time we did verse number 45. Let us read 46. Tattvasvaroopanabhavadutpannam jnanamanjasa aham mameti cha jnanam badhate digbhramaadivat. The knowledge produced by the realization of the true nature of reality destroys immediately the ignorance characterized by notions of I and mine, as the sun removes the mistake regarding one's direction. As usual, Shankaracharya gives a familiar example. When we are walking in darkness, it is possible that we may lose our way and go in some wrong direction, not being able to reach the goal. But when the sun rises, the darkness is dispelled immediately, and then we know our way. Then we can recognize where we are and which way we have to go. In the same way, when knowledge of the self dawns, then all the ignorance is removed immediately. Ignorance here is characterized by notions of I and mine. Aham means I, always I referring to the body and the mind. Individual personality. Mine, mama means mine. My house, my property, my fame, my possessions, my disciples, and my knowledge, all these things. These are limitations that we impose upon ourselves that keep us from realizing our true infinite self. If we hold on to the small self, then we are not at the same time able to experience our cosmic consciousness, because we hold this as the dearest of things. That I and mine, such notions are notions born of ignorance of one's true nature. This ignorance will be removed the moment we realize our true nature. Here, true nature of reality means it is described as existence, knowledge, bliss, absolute, Satchidananda, which is free from all trace of ignorance. Notions of I and mine, this is a characteristic of the jiva. If we identify ourselves as individual personality, then all limitations are experienced. If we give up this personality, then all limitations are given up and cosmic unitary consciousness is experienced. The sun, etc. In darkness, one loses one's bearings or mistakes the stump of a tree for a man and falls a prey to other forms of delusion and confusion. All this is destroyed the moment the sun rises in the sky. The knowledge of non-duality produced by the realization of Brahman destroys, no doubt, ignorance and its effects, such as the relative universe and I consciousness. Yet, even a knower is seen to retain the notions of I and mine and the objective world. This is due to his prarabdha karma, the action done in the previous life, which has given rise to the present body and on the termination of which his present life will come to an end. This is one view of some Vedantins, that even if realization comes, that person will still retain a certain individuality as long as the body is alive and active, because this present body is inherited as a result of the impressions of past actions, and those impressions have to be worked out. Until that happens, the final release does not come. That is one view. But Shankaracharya does not believe in that. He believes that even as the body is alive, it is possible to achieve that unitary consciousness. Then no longer the identification that I am the body remains. So whatever happens to the body, that person is not affected. Many great souls, they suffer in a physical sense because of various ailments in their later years. But they don't seem to suffer anything. It's the body that goes through the motions of suffering, and their consciousness is fully at peace. That we have seen in the biographies of great souls. when Ramana Maharshi was apparently suffering because of sarcoma of his elbow, much pain was seen in his body. People would feel so sorry for him because he was suffering from pain. But when asked whether he really felt the pain, he said, this pain that appears to be experienced by the body is like the dream pain. In the dream, if there is some pain, then we don't really feel the pain when we wake up. That person is in a waking state consciousness, and our waking state is like that person's dream. So all the waking state pain to that person is like our dream pain when we are in waking state. He's one step ahead of us. If I had some problem, physical problem last night when I dreamt, that pain doesn't bother me now because it is dream pain right now. Yes, it was there, but I don't feel any pain right now. In the same way, he has gone one step above this waking state, and all the waking state pain which is so real to us, to him it is like dream pain. On account of this karma, he perceives the relative world, though in reality he is aware of its unreal nature. This prarabdha karma obstructs his total realization of non-duality and absorption in Brahman. The obstacle is removed at death, and the knower, who always has been free, realizes his utter freedom in Brahman. But according to some Vedantins, the total realization of Brahman is possible even when one dwells in a physical body. That is the ultimate. Even now, the truth can be experienced. One doesn't have to wait until the moment of death of the physical body. Why to wait until the moment of death? Once the physical body identification is given up, it doesn't matter what happens to the body, whether it continues to live or does not function. Nothing matters. If I know that I am not this garment, my consciousness is not affected by what happens to the garment, whether it is in good condition or bad condition, whether it is thrown away or kept someplace else. None of these things that happen to the garment, its status, does not affect me because I know that I am not this. Once that awareness is experienced, the status of the body does not affect that consciousness. That is the highest view of Vedanta. So one does not have to wait until the time of death to experience that one. If by sadhana and by the grace of God, that knowledge comes now, that can be experienced even now. When the body seems to be going through the motions of living and eating, sleeping and talking, it may be going through its motions as long as the momentum of prarabdha karma lasts. But that person does not identify with the body anymore. That is the explanation given by some Vedantins. 47. Samyak vijnanavan yogi swatmanyeva akhilam jagat ekam cha sarvamatmanam ikshate jnanachakshusha. The yogi, endowed with complete enlightenment, sees through the eye of knowledge the entire universe in his own self and regards everything as the self and nothing else. This is a theme that comes in many of the scriptures. In the Upanishad, in the Gita, and in other scriptures, this comes. All compartmentalization of existence is superficial and superimposed. In actuality, existence is one continuum, unbroken, undifferentiated consciousness. That is experienced. And all division is seen as superficial. It is like looking at the waves standing on the shore of the ocean and looking at each individual wave and thinking they're all disparate, separate things. But the same person can look at the ocean and say, these waves are all not different from each other, they are not different from the ocean. In fact, the waves are the ocean, appearing to be disparate and separate and clashing against each other, making a lot of noise and creating foam and all these things. But the waves are nothing but the ocean. There is no difference. That is true knowledge. One who has realized the complete identity of the self and Brahman, to such a person, no distinction is seen by that person. Free from doubt and contrary knowledge, because of his experience of truth, a true knower of the truth, one who has experienced the truth of oneness, does not feel any difference. That is in the Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter, 30th verse, 6:30. Sri Krishna says, Yo mam pashyati sarvatra, sarvam cha mayi pashyati. Sarvatra means everywhere. Mam pashyati. Such a person sees me. He sees the same consciousness in all beings, regardless of what those beings are. As Sri Ramakrishna experienced in his visions many times, whether it was a wicked man standing outside the temple, or a prostitute, or a cat, or inanimate object, a floor or ceiling or utensil, whatever it was the same. That is the meaning of seeing me everywhere. When the scriptures say, try to see me everywhere, me means pure consciousness. Everything was soaked as it were in pure consciousness. He describes that vision that he had. Yomam pashyati sarvatra, sarvam cha mayi pashyati. Everything is seen as God consciousness, as God itself. Tasyaham na pranashyami. To such a person who has this grand vision of unity, na pranashyami, I am not lost. Consciousness is not. There is no ignorance to such a person. Sachame na pranashyati. Such a person always has God consciousness. That's a different state which we at best can imagine, but we have to experience. Then it will be a different experience altogether. To a yogi who has attained complete enlightenment, the universe of names and forms appears to be mere imagination, like the imaginary existence of a snake in the rope. Universe of names and forms, people trying to insult us, people trying to harm us, people trying to please us and doing good to us, all the changes and movement and noise and everything appears to be mere dream-like reality. It is there, but it is not real. Like a mirage, it is there. Pure water seems to be there, but it is not there. Further, since an imaginary object is the same as its substratum, the entire universe and its diverse objects are perceived by the yogi to be the same as his self. That consciousness which is here is also everywhere. That experience must come. Therefore, a real sage loves the whole world as his own self and cannot injure anyone. That comes in the Isha Upanishad. Such a person who has this cosmic consciousness, that one consciousness pervades all beings, what kind of disturbance can he or she create? You don't expect any disturbance from that person, coming from that person, because he sees everyone as the same, as the self, and self as appearing as other people. So there is no question of getting angry, becoming angry at other people, injuring other people, hurting others. This don't arise at all. They don't even make disciples. The people who think that they are the gurus and I want to have all these disciples, these are my disciples, a person who thinks like this, he has not had this cosmic consciousness experience, because he still lives in duality. I am separate from you, I know a little bit more, therefore I am going to teach you. All these notions of being a teacher and helping other people and bringing them up is only in ignorance. A person like Ramana Maharshi would never use the word teacher. Sri Ramakrishna would never use the word teacher. He never said, I am the teacher. Because they are seeing the same consciousness in everyone. Sri Ramakrishna saw everybody as Divine Mother, even the wicked person and the prostitute. How can he assume the role of a teacher, thereby negating that experience? It wouldn't work. So he would never say, I am a teacher. In fact, he said 3 words, prick my flesh, Guru, Father and Teacher. So how can anybody be a teacher except in ignorance? Then I am separate, you are separate, so I got to teach you. So that stance is only in ignorance. It is possible. So this person cannot injure anyone, cannot try to improve anyone, because he is the same consciousness everywhere. That is a different experience. So let us stop here. 2 verses we have done, 46, 47. Let us spend a few more minutes in recapitulating the teachings of Swami Brahmarupananda, whose birthday we are celebrating today. Swami Brahmarupananda was one of the 16 direct disciples, monastic disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, and he was known for his love of fellow without making any distinction. That was the speciality of his personality. That's why making any distinction. That was the speciality of his personality. That's why it's called Premananda. The name Premananda was given to him. Sannyasa name Premananda was given to him by Swami Vivekananda because he was full of prema. Prema means unqualified, pure love. Our love is conditional. Their love is unconditional. Their love is based upon seeing the divinity in all. Our love is based upon expediency. If somebody is nice to me, then I can love that person. But their love is unconditional, based upon the realization that God alone is present in all beings. There cannot be anything other than love in their lives. That's why he was called Premananda. And he did not make any disciples whom to teach everywhere God is present. He did not take except even one disciple in his whole life. He lived in Belur serving everybody. Whenever people used to go, he would get up and serve them, prepare food and serve them personally. That was his one mission in life, serving everybody, seeing the same divinity in all. He practiced it every day of his life. That was the only thing he said to other people, serve everyone, seeing the presence of God in everyone. So, many experiences, incidents are given here. There was a young man of Calcutta, in Calcutta. He had strayed into evil paths under the influence of vicious company, some other boy. An addict to intoxicants, he appeared to be heading towards utter ruin every day. The efforts of his friends and relatives to wean him away from his associates and habits came to nothing. This incident shows how the unconditional love is so powerful an influence that it can transform the personality. In the end, they abandoned all hope in despair. Fortunately, one of the relatives of the young man happened to be acquainted with Swami Premananda. He related everything to the Swami and begged his mercy. The Swami listened to everything patiently. He went to the boy's place one day and asked him to come to the mutt, to the monastery. So the Swami goes to the boy's home in Calcutta and says, please come to our monastery one day. The boy came and enjoyed this day at the mutt. When the boy came, Swami served him with full of love and devotion without making any distinction because he was not a good boy. He showed the same love to that boy as he would to the highest saint. The boy came and enjoyed the day at the mutt. As he was returning, the Swami asked him to come again. The boy felt attracted to the Swami even at the first meeting and visited the mutt, the monastery, several times. The alchemy of the Swami's love and kindness slowly transmuted the base metal of the boy's character. How strange, he thought. How could he bestow such tenderness and affection upon me, who have been shunned even by my relatives and acquaintances in horror and shame? Nobody had shown this kind of love to this person in his whole life. Everybody had shunned him. He knows all my misdeeds. No worldly ties bind me to him. No selfishness rules his affection. Yet how wonderful is his love. There was nothing that Swami Premananda was expecting from this boy. But still, knowing that this boy was a person of evil deeds and bad habits, he still bestowed unconditional love. That's what transformed this boy's life. No selfishness rules his affection. Yet how wonderful is his love. Shortly afterwards, he gave up the world and embraced the life of renunciation and service. That boy who was an evil person was transformed just by the force of love. No preaching was there. No sermons were given. No scriptures were taught. Just by showing pure love, seeing God in that person, the divinity was awakened. He was telling, as it were, "O Lord, you have taken this form of this evil person. Why don't you just awaken and show your true divine nature?" That divine nature was shown in that boy's personality. Drawn by the invisible bonds of Baburam Maharaj's love and consideration, the devotees began to flock in large numbers to the monastery. A single meeting sufficed to create a lasting impression on their minds. The springs of action of great saints remain hidden from public gaze. Baburam Maharaj's purity and devotion and the Master's grace had lifted him to a plane of realization where the service of man became transformed into worship of God. Service of God in man. Seeing the presence of God in everyone, serving everyone without making any distinction. That was his one sadhana that he practiced every day of his life till the very end. The extreme care with which the Swami took in receiving and entertaining the devotees betrayed to the dullest mind glimpses of his transformed outlook. None could leave the monastery without being entertained. The visitors often turned up at odd hours, so the midday meal could not usually be served earlier than 1 or 2 in the afternoon. And sometimes it so happened that a group of devotees unexpectedly arrived from a distant place, while the monks were resting their tired limbs late in the afternoon. Swami Brahmarupananda would then proceed alone in silence to the kitchen to cook food for them himself, as he did not want to trouble the boys in their rest. The young monks, however, when they came to know of this, would hurry to the kitchen and do everything. Baburam Maharaj was highly pleased with those who came forward. He used to encourage and bless them, saying, "Well, the householders have to do a lot of things. Is it possible for them to come always at the proper time? And what can we do for them? We can only serve them, and that causes nothing but a little physical trouble. Through the Master's grace, nothing is wanting here. Should we not be blessed by giving these things to his children?" He saw everybody as children of the Master, seeing the same divinity in all, unconditional service to all beings, regardless of any other condition. That was his specialty. Concern for the devotees did not leave him even during his fatal illness. If anybody remonstrated with him for his anxiety lest it should affect his health, he would reply, "It is my nature. The service of the devotee is the worship of God." He would say, "The service of the devotee is the worship of God." A couple of days before he passed away, he called to his side a sannyasin who looked after the management of the monastery during his absence, and asked him in a voice tender with emotion, "Could you possibly do one thing?" The sannyasin replied, "Please tell me what I am to do." "Will you be able to serve the devotees?" was the question he met with. "Yes, I shall," was the reply. "Don't forget then," said Baburam Maharaj, almost imploringly. So this was his only ideal, and this he maintained throughout his life, without any deviation from this ideal, serving all, seeing the presence of God in all. He laid great stress on the gentleness of behavior. "Be gentle first," he would often repeat, "if you desire to be a sadhu." Nowadays, no one pays any attention to social and common good manners and gentle behavior. The Master used to take extreme care to teach us these things. To his saintly eye, women were the manifestations of the Divine Mother. His attitude to them was literally one of worship. He behaved himself like a child in their presence. Drawn by his guileless manners, spotless purity and charm, and a certain amount of feminine grace about him, women found themselves quite at ease in his presence. Even the ladies of certain aristocratic Mohammedan families, where the strict rules of the Parda were observed, would come to him at the monasteries at Dhaka or in Calcutta to listen to his words. Imbued with the ideals preached by Swami Vivekananda, he realized that a nation could never be great unless its women were educated and honored. This is an age-old saying in the scriptures, that wherever women are honored and respected, their prosperity will be felt. Yatra naryastu pujyante ramante tatra devataha. Where women are honored and respected and treated with gentleness, their prosperity will be there. Gods will be pleased there. Then his teachings. Can one become a great devotee of God simply by dancing and jumping or by quoting plentifully from the scriptures? What is wanted is freedom from selfishness, freedom from egotism. The present age is in need of selfless heroes in the field of service. Mere talk will not do. This is the age of action. One must prove all this in practice. The need is for silent workers. The need is now for silent preachers. When one goes on finding fault with others, one becomes imperceptibly infected with those faults. We have not come to this world either for fault finding or for correcting others. We have come simply to learn. We must always ask ourselves what we have learned. If you can love others, and then you will be blessed with peace and happiness. One must love the ideal with one's whole heart. Dive deep with whichever name of the Lord appeals to you. It won't do to swim merely on the surface. Call forth faith in the Guru's words, faith in holy men's teachings, faith in the scriptures. Then only you can have results. Mere namby-pamby attitude will be of no avail. You must have this forceful determination. Even in this life I must attain success. I must become detached. I must become free in this very body. Can there be anything impossible for me? Throw away all fear and anxiety. Think, we are the children of God. Then weakness will find no loophole to creep in. The poor, the weak, the fallen, the ignorant, all these you have to make your very own. And yet I warn you that in loving one section of society, you must not become hateful of the other. Soon you will be blessed with concentration of mind. You need have no anxiety on that score. God Himself blesses one with the power of meditation who thinks of Him. He it is again who ordains holy company, pure mind and sound intellect. Never desist from meditation. Never desist from meditation. Your mind itself will play the role of holy company and saintly Guru and will show you the right path. Go on practicing meditation with a little determination. When you become used to it, you will find that you cannot do without it and you will derive pleasure from it. Make the whole world your own through love. Let there be no one outside the pale, none your enemy. Let there be no egotism, and drive away such foreign ideas as enmity. Let the whole world become one through love. We have to make a single community of this whole world. If there is anything that is to be treated as an alien, it is the me and mine. This me and mine is the worst enemy. That is what Shankaracharya says in the Advaita textbook. Me and mine is ignorance. This me and mine is the worst enemy. This great enemy has to be killed, extirpated. Then only will this whole world become your own, of God, and full of peace and happiness. And He alone will be able to impart this lesson who has killed me and mine. The Master used to say, the devotees belong to a class by themselves. They are neither Brahmins nor non-Brahmins, neither are the Hindus nor Muslims. The devotees belong to the divine class, God's relatives and blood relations, His very own. Money can do nothing. It is love and character that can achieve everything. Show it by your actual life, and then will people listen to you. Let the mouth be closed and actions speak. Those were some of his words from his teachings. So let us stop here and continue our study of the book next week. Life as usual. Next Sunday, December 2, Sunday service at 11 o'clock by Swami Kalikananda. His topic will be Religion and Concepts. Then December is a month full of celebrations. Holy Mother's birthday celebration on December 8. Christmas Eve service on December 24. And Ganges, a number of programs. So if you don't have a copy of this, please get a copy at the door. It gives all the programs. Let us say the prayer. Chant the name of the Lord and His glory unceasingly, that the mirror of the heart may be wiped clean, and quenched that mighty forest fire, worldly lust raging furiously within. O name, stream down in moonlight on a lotus heart, opening its cup to knowledge of thyself. O self, drowned deep in the waves of His bliss, tasting His nectar at every step, bathing in His name that bath for weary souls. Various are thy names, O Lord. In each and every name thy power resides. No times are set, no rites are needful for chanting of thy name. So vast is thy mercy. How huge then is my wretchedness, who find in this empty life and heart no devotion to thy name. O my mind, be humbler than a blade of grass. Be patient and forbearing like a tree. Take no honor to thyself. Give honor to all. Chant unceasingly the name of the Lord. O Lord and soul of the universe, mine is no prayer for wealth or retinue, the playthings of lust or the toys of fame. As many times as I may be reborn, grant me, O Lord, a steadfast love for thee. A drowning man in this world's fearful ocean is thy servant, O sweet one. In thy mercy, consider him as dust beneath thy feet. Ah, how I long for the day when an instant's separation from thee, O Lord, will be as 1,000 years, when my heart burns away with its desire, and the world without thee is a heartless void. Prostrate at thy feet let me be in unwavering devotion, neither imploring the embrace of thine arms, nor bewailing the withdrawal of thy presence, though it tears my soul asunder. O thou, who stealest the hearts of thy devotees, do with me what thou wilt, for thou art my heart's beloved, thou and thou alone. O Lord, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness to light, and lead us from death to immortality. May all be free from dangers, may all realize what is good, may all be actuated by noble thoughts, may all rejoice everywhere, may all be happy, may all be free from disease, may all realize what is good, may none be subject to misery. May the wicked become virtuous, may the virtuous attain tranquility, may the tranquil be free from bonds, may the freed make others free. May good betide all people, may the sovereign righteously rule the earth, may all beings ever attain what is good, may the worlds be prosperous and happy, may the clouds pour rain in time, may the earth be blessed with crops, may all countries be freed from calamity, may holy men live without fear. May the Lord, the destroyer of sins, the presiding deity of all sacred works, be satisfied, for He being pleased, the whole universe becomes pleased. He being satisfied, the whole universe feels satisfied.